This is CBC Here and Now.
Both my parents are essential workers. Sometimes I want to help my parents get to the grocery store, get myself to work. Having my license would make that a lot easier.
COVID has student drivers stalling, waiting for the green light to get their license.
Our Minister of Health said that we shouldn't lick shopping carts, but I would love to see us lick COVID by supporting local industries, supporting local business, supporting the tourism industry, and let's show COVID it has no place in Newfoundland.
Welcome to Here and Now. Relief is coming for the province's hard-hit tourism sector. A $25 million hospitality program was announced this morning. But as Heather Gillis reports, the industry says it's still not enough.
The tourism industry has been suffering catastrophic losses since the COVID-19 pandemic closed borders, halting travel. Today, some welcome news.
We are pleased to announce a $25 million investment through the Tourism and Hospitality Support Program.
The money, coming from the province's $200 million COVID-19 contingency fund, will give small and medium businesses a one-time, non-repayable contribution of $5,000 or $10,000, depending on their gross sales. To be eligible, businesses must demonstrate they suffered a loss in March or April and show projected losses for May to August. Tourism Minister Bernard Davis expects more than 2,000 applicants once the program opens June 8th, but full program details aren't public yet.
You know, the criteria will be on our website in the next couple of days.
The devil is always in the detail.
Kathy Duke, CEO of Destination St. John, says the tourism industry is a big economic driver responsible for more than $1.1 billion in spending. She says while the funding is much needed, the industry, which employs 20,000 people and 2,700 businesses, will need more.
But we need a much bigger program in place, either federally or provincially, to work with industry.
Meanwhile, Davis said the tourism department is working on a staycation marketing campaign to buoy the industry until tourists return. But there are still no guidelines for staycationers or tourism operators. Duke wants to see standards for the industry,
so that they can put everything in place they need to at this time and also get ready for the market recovery, which will come a little bit later.
Meanwhile, the Premier says more details about staycations will be released as the province moves to Alert Level 3, which could be June 8th at the earliest. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, operators in Eastport are banking on staycationers to keep the industry afloat this summer. For insight into what they're facing, Here and Now's Anthony Germain spoke with the owner of the Prince of Wales Inn in Sandringham.
How is tourism being challenged here in the Eastport Peninsula?
In talking to them, I've spoken with all of the licensed operators, and all of them, it's the unanswered questions, not knowing what the future is going to bring, how tourism is going to open up, whether Newfoundlanders are going to support us and book in the summer and have what we talk of so often, staycations. And if we could count on that happening, I think it would bring a lot more certainty to the industry and people would know what to do this coming summer.
Taking a look at your fine property here, give me a sense of the ratio of bookings of people who aren't from here.
More than 75% of our guests, Anthony, would be from out of province. We're not going to have any of those people this year. So if Newfoundlanders don't support us in filling that space, then I don't see where it's worth our while to reopen our business and incur the expense that comes with that, and then only have 5% occupancy. This came at the very, very worst time for operators because most of us make a few dollars in the summer, but a lot of those get spent over the winter just maintaining your property for the following year. And so most of our bank accounts are drained, and now we have no opportunity to replenish them, and yet we're facing another winter with the same expenses and no money in the bank to pay those bills. Like I said, I'm hoping Newfoundlanders are going to step up and fill that gap, and staycations are the name of the day. So if they will do that, that would certainly make a big difference in terms of what we do. But it's the uncertainty that's the biggest problem, and there are such significant costs from insurance to your cable, to taxes, everything that come with the business, that once you make the decision to open, you incur all of those expenses.
And you might not have any customers.
And you may not have any customers. So it really makes, making a decision very, very difficult.
Teachers will be returning to the classroom next week. Starting Monday, teachers will be returning to work on final report cards and plan ahead for the year. In preparing for September, teachers will also get schooled in virtual technology to help connect with their class. It's not yet known if students will return to school in the fall, but Education Minister Brian Moore says they're preparing for every possible scenario. The school year ends next Friday. Final marks will be issued the week of June 22nd. And the College of the North Atlantic has another new president. Elizabeth Kidd begins the job next month. For the last 4 years, Kidd has been the chief operating officer of the college. She was promoted to interim president for a 6-month period in 2017. She's the 5th person to sit in the president's office in just 4 years. Well, another day with no new cases of COVID-19 in Newfoundland and Labrador. There are still 3 people and 3 active cases of the virus. But we found out today the situation might be a little different than you think. Here and Now's Peter Cowan was asking about that at today's COVID-19 briefing. So Peter, what can you tell us about the people who are still in hospital?
Carolyn, there are 3 people. One of those people is in the ICU, and we know that they've been in there for weeks and weeks and weeks, which has people wondering, why is it taking them so long to recover? Especially when you look at an average case, you're going to recover in about a 2-week period or sometimes less. Well, today what we found out is actually 2 of the people there are no longer infectious with the disease, but because of other complications, they've had to remain in hospital, and the Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Janice Fitzgerald, explained.
2 of the 3 people in hospital have tested negative for the virus and are considered recovered, and are remaining in hospital because of other reasons.
Interestingly, though, she says she believes they are still counted in the statistics as being active, which means if you actually do the math, there's now only 1 single person in hospital who has an active infection for COVID-19, which is getting close to that 0 number that we've seen in some of the other provinces. Carolyn?
Okay, so Peter, through this pandemic, the Liberal leadership race has been on hold. It looks like that may change soon, though. What's happening there?
Yeah, we saw the first signs from the party today. Their plan is to resume the Liberal leadership race and choose a new premier, and they would start that process on June the 8th. So right now, Andrew Furey and John Abbott haven't been allowed to campaign. In fact, they're even silenced from being able to comment on when they think this all should resume, and that's being done by the party. So the decision will come for sure on June 1st. So for now, we don't know what date they'll actually set as their deadline for voting and when there would be a new leader chosen. And of course, Carolyn, that means not only a new leader chosen, but a new premier and marking the end of Dwight Ball's time in the office.
Thanks so much, Peter. That's Here and Now's Peter Cowan reporting live. A petition to reverse the approval of a proposed hotel in Atlantic Place was submitted to council this afternoon.
I've been asked to table this petition on behalf of the St. John citizens for Atlantic Place consultation.
Deputy Mayor Sheila O'Leary tabled the petition at the virtual meeting. Over 5,600 people signed that petition that asks council to rescind the project approval, which was granted in a tight 6-5 vote last week. Louise Moyes lives in the downtown area and helped organize the petition. She feels there was not proper public consultation on the project because the meeting happened around Snowmageddon and the pandemic. I spoke with her in her backyard this afternoon.
The hotel will continue the wall for another 20% beyond Atlantic Place, and the highest point of the hotel will be as high as the highest point of Atlantic Place. So in the petition, we're asking council to consider rescinding the votes that they've had based on the fact of the timing of them, and to have a real full engagement with the citizens and the organizations in St. John's, And we had 2,500 votes in 48 hours. And now we're up to 5,600 votes. So we think that shows that people really want to talk about this issue. The first public meeting was December 12th, so just before Christmas, and a lot of the media was Christmas Eve and New Year's Day. And then the second public meeting was March 12th, and we all went under COVID-19 lockdown. So people have been concerned, understandably, with their own well-being, their financial, and their health, and their families. So we were concerned about that. Was there enough coverage? Was there enough awareness? A lot of the comments we're getting is that the design is just plain ugly. Like putting lipstick on a pig comes up fairly often. It's clunky, it's chunky. The envelope around the garage, lots of concerns about that. What is it? It's basically a steel foil that they'll put around. Will it rust? You know, how is this improving? And also the issue is the air rights are a big issue too. So air rights, I didn't know what that meant before I got into this project. A chunk of the building will project over the sidewalk in Cliffsbaird's Cove. And the biggest concern we have is that then developers will be, they're watching this, and that they'll want to push out their buildings over the coves all along Water Street. So it's not just our private view, it's street views, it's views for tourists, it's views for citizens. We're asking council to rescind the vote, take 2 steps back, have a look at this, and really work to develop heritage and development.
Well, crews were out all weekend in Conception Bay South working on the town's troublesome water system. Residents have reported damage to water heaters due to the high pressure. Some have had their relief valves blow out.
This is the fault of the town in any way, shape, or form, and obviously there will be a way to go through our insurance and people will be compensated appropriately. We're not running and hiding from this, quite the contrary. We'll share that report with whoever wants to see it.
Mayor Terry French says workers stopped all leaks over the weekend and pressure seems to have normalized. In the last month or so, there have been 9 advisories about water main breaks in CBS. French says the repairs have cost the town hundreds of thousands of dollars. And there was more traffic trouble in Holyrood over the weekend. On Sunday, traffic was backed up for an hour and a half in the same spot where there was a 5-hour delay just a few days before. Construction is underway on 2 culverts along the Trans-Canada Highway near Salmonier Line. That work is expected to be completed by next Tuesday. Well, it is a slice of summer freedom delayed. Because of COVID-19, teenagers in this province haven't been able to get their license or their permits, and there could be long lineups when the service reopens. CBC's Garrett Berry reports.
Okay. All geared up.
I had it insured beforehand so I could get out in the road and drive it because I bought it last summer.
But no way to go without mom or dad, that is.
It was kind of definitely sad, and I was really excited to look forward to it, but everything happening now is kind of, I've always been like an independent person, so like I kind of want to just have that for myself and be able to bring myself places and to school and just go out and see my friends sometimes. But
COVID-19 has shut down motor registration, so big summer plans are delayed.
For my birthday, I did get a car, so it was all going to plan, but I guess it didn't fully shape out.
A Sweet 16 rite of passage paused.
Both my parents and a lot of my friends have said it's one of the most freeing feelings you'll feel in the world because you can go anywhere now and you don't need to tell anyone, or it's all to yourself.
Feel like you're stuck? Consider this.
My friends that do have their license, I can't really get in the car with them because of social distance and you have to stay in your double bubble. So I see some of my friends who go to, say, a parking lot and I'll park a space apart to see each other, and I have to stay home because I don't have my license yet and I can't go meet them.
As the weeks pass, the lineup gets longer and longer.
It's going to be a battle once Dr. Fitzgerald lifts the restrictions. You know, because there's students that could have got their license in March, April, or May that didn't get the opportunity to do that. So they're going to be antsy once these restrictions are lifted.
Patience is key on the road, and it will be here too.
People are just going to have to be patient, and you know, the way I look at it, you know, you've waited 16 years to get a license. Give it another couple of months and under the circumstances that we're in. Right?
For now, all there is to do his dream.
It is a 2008 Civic, but it was my older brother's, but where he's gone off to Alberta now, so my dad was just using it for a bit. So he's fixing it up for me, and then hopefully as soon as this is over, I can get to actually use it.
Garrett Berry, CBC News, Gander.
Well, a quick update for you now. As you no doubt noticed, during the COVID-19 crisis, Here and Now has looked a little different. We're a shorter show these days, but I'm happy to report that we will be returning to a full 1-hour show very soon, starting Monday, June 15th. We will resume our regular format of being a 1-hour show, and we are all very excited about that. And we'd like to thank you for staying with us during this time.
Well, it finally feels like summer here in the east. Had to come out to one of my most favorite spots, the bottom of Signal Hill, and just over my shoulder there is Cape Spear. I hope you got out to enjoy the weather. There's a lot more where this came from for the week. I'll have all the details coming up.
Another update is brought to you by the sold-out HCF Home Lottery. Thank you, Newfoundland and Labrador. Your support has been overwhelming. Prize winners will be announced on June 25th at hcfhomelottery.ca.
finally feels like summer in parts of the east, so I had to come out to one of my most favorite spots in St. John's, Signal Hill, or the area of Signal Hill anyway, and just to enjoy all of this beautiful sunshine. It was a cool start to the day though. Take a look at where we sat to start the day. Temperatures hovering around the 0 degree mark for most of us. Corner Brook around 2 degrees, but then if you've been outside at all today, you know we rebounded absolutely perfectly. 17 degrees so far, the the temperature in St. John's, and we added 2 more to the 20-degree club. Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and Twillingate both reached a high near 21 degrees and 24 degrees for Happy Valley, Goose Bay. So yes, a beautiful day. And we did see some more cloud cover on the west, though virtually cloud-free in the east, but you can see we're going to see some of that cloud cover creep a little bit further east as we head through the night tonight. But the good news is we've got these this warm air mass sitting over us, and if we take a look at what's going to happen over the next couple of days, we're generally going to stay in that air mass pretty much through Saturday. Into Sunday, we'll start to see some colder air filter in up through Labrador, but overall, I don't really see a cool down, at least for this week, as far as those temperatures go. Overnight tonight, we are looking at the winds picking up. Southwesterlies is what we're seeing now. Exposed areas more than likely going to see gusts between 40 to 60 kilometers per hour. And then staying generally cloudy for Labrador with that potential for showers. And you'll note those showers will make their way towards the west coast as we head into the early morning hours. Generally, the clouds will be on the increase through the day, mainly in the west, and then eventually in the east we'll see those cloud cover with the potential for some showers as well. So a generally unsettled day. The first half of the day in the east, though, does look beautiful, but it will be breezy, like I said. So anywhere from 40 to as much as 70 kilometer per hour gusts, certainly in those exposed areas, and eventually you'll see some clearing skies up through Labrador. Here's your temperatures. Another beautiful day, except in onshore winds along the south coast, keeping your temperatures a little bit cooler. And you're looking at anywhere from 14 to as much as 19 degrees again tomorrow. And then up through Labrador, another beautiful day as well, into the mid-teens. Nain, you'll sit in those single digits, hovering around 7 degrees, but plenty of sunshine. Into Wednesday, temperatures again will rebound in the west and then cool for the east, and that's because we're going to see a wind shift. So northerly component winds through the day on Wednesday. Lab City, you're going to sit around 13 degrees with plenty of sunshine, rather the chance of some showers. And as far as the next couple of days goes, we're getting closer and closer to that potential for 20 degrees. It looks like it might happen on Saturday for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland. Temperatures certainly going to reach those 20 degrees by the time the end of the week rolls around. We could even see some humidity in the mix as well. And then up through Labrador, another potentially 20-degree day, but it does look like it'll come with some showers on Friday for you in eastern Labrador. And generally gray for most of the week for the west. Just wanted to share this great shot of Whiteway in Trinity Bay. Randy Smith sent us this lovely shot. If you have any weather photos to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Just beautiful. Well, returning now to today's COVID-19 briefing. When the province went into lockdown to contain the virus, one of the reasons behind that decision was not everyone shows signs of infection. We've been more than 2 weeks without any new cases, so is it safe to say we're out of the woods? Dr. Janice Fitzgerald says it's a good sign, but still not a guarantee.
The thing with asymptomatic people is we don't know where they are. So there may be some asymptomatic people that we don't know about. We don't have a lot of information about how easily asymptomatic people transmit. We know that some of them do. We don't know really what percentage of them do. So there may be that, but there may also be that some people are being very good with self-isolation, and so we're not seeing spread because they're following the guidelines and staying at home. But it is certainly bodes well that we haven't seen any cases coming up in our testing, or we haven't seen people presenting to hospital. That certainly does bode well for us having a low prevalence here in the province.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Now to news out of Ottawa. MPs are debating how to conduct parliamentary business in the face of pandemic restrictions on the size of gatherings. Liberals propose combining in-person and virtual appearances twice a week. The NDP says it will support that, but only if Ottawa comes up with a new paid sick leave policy for all Canadians. Today, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau pledged to work toward that goal.
The government will continue discussions with the provinces without delay on ensuring that as we enter the recovery phase of the pandemic, every worker in Canada who needs it has access to 10 days of paid sick leave a year.
BC's Premier first raised the issue, noting it will be critical in the coming months for people with flu-like symptoms to stay home. Trudeau says other premiers seem receptive, but covering the cost would involve businesses, provinces, and the federal government. Also in question, how quickly the policy could be adopted. Trudeau says he's aiming for October or November to be ready for the regular fall flu season and a possible resurgence of COVID-19. Well, as you know, long-term care homes around the world are in lockdown over fears of COVID. But one retirement residence in France has come up with a unique way to make visits with loved ones possible and safe. They're calling it the happiness bubble. Family members, and yes, pets too, are able to touch and talk with their elderly relatives through a transparent plastic wall. The plastic bubble was set up in the garden of the senior's home. It's cleaned thoroughly between visits, and separate entrances help ensure residents and visitors are kept safely apart. Well, before we end the show tonight, just want to once again mention that Here and Now will soon return to its regular 60-minute format between 6 and 7 o'clock. Starting on Monday, June 15th, we will once again be an hour-long show, and we are all very much looking forward to that. But for now, thanks to you for joining us this evening. We'll leave you tonight with a beautiful, sunny, live shot of St. John's Harbour. Have a lovely evening. Power and Politics is coming up next. Good night.